Welcome in to the You Got Served Shorts version. So I decided to try something new this time around. Um I love pop culture. I love talking about pop culture. I like, debating and answering and going back and forth and talking about social media's, you know, current events, meaningless junk. I love talking about it. I eat it up. I eat every story up. Every day is something. Every day, there's something new going on. So I decided I wanted to do something a little different. it's a little tough, carrying a podcast, doing an hour show, staying on here, prepping, doing all that. And I might still do that. But I came up with this other idea of doing something called the shorts. You got served shorts. And it's just basically just 15, 20-minute, maybe 10-minute videos of me just going on about whatever. Talk about whatever, just bullshitting, right? But I decided to try this. I might do these a couple times a week. I might do, whatever the story is that I want to talk about. I might just record something, a mini video like this. But it's March. We just got out of spring break. We got March Madness. Tennessee is playing in the Sweet 16. We got a huge game Friday. March Madness. Is March Madness one of the greatest times of the year, sports or not? Every year I request off from work the opening round of the March Madness tournament, the Thursday and Friday. I don't care about the play-in games. Those are wild. Sit around and watch basketball from noon on Thursday to Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and then it's back up and you have to go back to the real world. Some of the greatest times, it is just the gambling, the filling out your brackets, the buzzer beaters, the Cinderellas. Pause. Not many Cinderellas this time. I'll get into that some here. I got some stats I wanted to mention on my little piece of paper here. But not a lot of drama this year. Has the NIL killed, mid majors from keeping talent and, you know, beating some of these teams that are loaded with freshmen? For instance, the Sister Jean type teams. I can't stand her. I hate her. I'm so glad. I'm so glad Sister Jean didn't make it to the March Madness, to the big dance this year. I can't stand her. But teams like that, the George Masons of the world, they would hold on guys for 3 or 4 years, and those guys would develop into the program, grow with each other, learn how to play with each other, and really cause havoc in the tournament. Nowadays, it's basically like these mid majors are a feeder system to the North Carolinas and the Dukes and the Kansases and the Kentuckys and the whatever. Tennessee, we got Dalton Connect last year. We got Chaz this year from a small school. It's kind of sad, honestly. I did this thing this year. I've done it a couple times where, from a gambling standpoint, you take a set number, take like $50, put $50 on all the underdogs. Especially now, you can probably stop anytime you want, but the first weekend is usually the best. And the concept behind this is the odds are so good and there's so many upsets that you end up making a profit out of it. Well, I ended up losing my ass on it. There was like only one big major upset. I think it was a 12-5. I can't remember the team. but I ended up losing my ass on it. And so 25-7, the higher seeds beat the lower seeds. Thursday through Sunday, 25-7. And they're wanting to expand the field. Well, first off, they shouldn't even have talks about expanding the field when there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with March Madness. Nobody says, hey, let's change March Madness because it sucks. That's just ridiculous. Keep it the same. It's like the NFL. NFL is king, but they constantly want to make changes to the product. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But this year is a little different. I'll tell you what though, on the flip side of that, from an entertainment standpoint, this coming weekend, we have some huge games. Of course, Tennessee and Florida is Friday. I don't even know the lineup, honestly. I'd have to check. Let's see here. BYU, Alabama, Maryland, Florida, Arizona, Duke, Arkansas, Texas Tech. On Friday, we have Ole Miss, Michigan State, Michigan and Auburn, Purdue, Houston, and Kentucky and Tennessee. From a Tennessee standpoint, they've been beaten twice by this Kentucky team. No one can really understand why or explain why. For the better part of Rick Barnes' tenure at Tennessee, Tennessee has held their own versus Kentucky. They've gotten swept by Kentucky this year. I read a stat the other day. It's like a team that's going into the third game of the season and they're 0-2. So basically, the third meetup and they're 0-2 going into it. They win 75% of the time. So that's good on Tennessee. I'm going to be nervous as all get out come Friday evening. But it's kind of disappointing as far as the March Madness goes. We'll see going forward how the tournament shakes out. Another big story in the world of pop culture is this Snow White film. Has been a complete clusterfuck. I mean, it's been. I can't even put into words how bad it's bombed. It had a budget of 250 million, and it opened at 43 million domestically. They projected it at 100 million, which we'll see if it crosses that. It got a 42 on Rotten Tomatoes. There's been several controversies behind it. Apparently, like Rachel Zegler, her and Gal Gadot have gotten into it. Let's see here. I know Zegler. Of course, they don't cast her as a white woman. So that's Disney's thing. Disney never sticks by the race of what the story is supposed to be. And look, I'm all about, I don't care what race or religion an actor or actress is, but don't force it down just because it's a box to check. Okay? Snow White is a white woman, okay? The Little Mermaid is a pale-skinned redheaded chick. Okay? Don't change things to be changing things. Now, if you're making a new movie, an original new idea that has not been made over and over again, then cast whoever you want. But Star Wars and Marvel and Disney has all pushed this narrative, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of funny now. I mean, we've kind of made jokes about it for years about Even Netflix we've made jokes about Netflix before about, you know, there's gonna be a gay character, there's gonna be a black character, there's gonna be a gay black character. That's all funny and fine. But they never learn. They never learn that the people, the normal people, the people going to spend their money on this, $20 a ticket, $20 for popcorn and Coke, 3 kids. They don't want to be preached at. Politics need to be set aside for movie and entertainment, and that's my whole premise when it comes to a podcast to my podcast is free speech. Stop getting woke. Let's go back to the early 2000s when um the everything was better. Entertainment was better. Nobody was afraid to tell a joke. Let's get back to that. This Rachel Zegler, she just is she's tone deaf. I mean, she apparently made a comment about the prince from the story. Basically, he was a stalker, found the glass. No, wait, that's Cinderella. I can't even get my damn Disney references straight. Basically said, he kissed her without her permission, or, saying that she didn't need a prince to be saved. Very feminism, like modern day feminism. It's killer. And she goes on social media and wants to rip Trump supporters. These left wing actors and actresses and certain businesses that are left wing, they don't understand that to survive, you have to have money from these people spending money on your product. Clay Travis had a book that Republicans buy sneakers too, and that was one of the quotes that Michael Jordan always said back in the '90s was, I think he's a Democrat, probably not a hardcore leftist like some of them, but he was quoted as saying back in the day that he wants to sell shoes. Well, if you come out against one side of the political aisle, then you alienate half your base. That's losing money. It's not a smart business model. So why would you come out and say and bash Trump supporters? More than half of America voted for Donald Trump, and you're going to alienate them to not come see your movie? That doesn't seem smart at all. Free Palestine. She, apparently Disney pressured her to remove that from a tweet she posted. Apparently she refused to delete it. There was tensions with Gal Gadot, like I said. She's an Israeli native amid the Israel. I'm reading off from Gronk, by the way. AI. Amid the Israel-Palestine conflict, reportedly necessitating increased security for Gadot. So apparently Gadot felt like her life was in danger because of this stupid actress. There was also issues with the CGI dwarfs. Originally, apparently this movie's been going on and been trying to get film since COVID. And there was an issue with the dwarves. You know, I'm just going to read this off. The decision to replace the 7 dwarfs with CGI also angered fans and actors like Peter Dinklage, who criticized the move, and John Ferguson, and a dwarf actor who protested outside screenings for not hiring real dwarfs. Why didn't they just hire people to do it? That'd been a great opportunity for them. And I would imagine that their acting jobs are very minimal. So why wouldn't they want to do this? And I'm not even making a joke. I'm being completely serious. It's kind of like when there was a movie a couple years ago where Bryan Cranston played a paraplegic in a wheelchair. Well, some of the people that are paralyzed from the waist down, the actors, they were like, "Hey, we don't get many opportunities. Why didn't we get called for that?" instead of Bryan Cranston. Well, everybody knows why, because it's Bryan Cranston. But, the other day I posted on social media, I just went to my a little fun game you can play is you can go and look up movie times for your local theaters. And I did one of our busiest ones here in Turkey Creek on opening weekend of um of a movie on Saturday night in prime time at 8 p.m. There was nobody um there was no tickets reserved for Snow White on a Saturday night. How pathetic is that? Pretty pathetic. So it's totally bombed. I'm glad it's bombed. It's gonna do whatever. But like I said, I just wanted to get on here and do a short. I'm gonna start calling them "You Got Served" shorts, just to go over stuff. Just I just like talking about pop culture. I do. I really do. It's different than live too. With live, you got to be pinpoint. I can be a little. I don't have to be as accurate about things as when I'm recording. Uh, so that helps a little bit. But I just wanted to get on here and say a few words and maybe post some more videos. Tennessee plays Friday. Go Vols. Let's get this big dub. That's going to be one of the greatest wins. And another thing about that is people were talking about how putting so much pressure on this win or putting so much pressure on this game. It's the most important game ever in UT's history, and it's going to be the most satisfying win. And then, do people not realize that we have two other Elite Eight appearances? I don't really understand what that is all about. Everybody wants to make in the moment certain things the best of all time, the worst of all time. They want to jump to that stereotype or that conclusion. Like at this moment in this time, it's the best so and so or the worst so and so. It's like I know we're living in the moment, and that's why people say it. But it's always kind of dumb to me. But anyway, but been on here for 17, 18 minutes, but I just wanted to say what's up, go over some stories, but I'll be back soon. Peace out.